I do have a concern that I'm trying to work around within my own reality based on what's been happening since the election. And yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I know.
But see, we love dealing with this dynamic because this is exactly the situation that we have been kind of keying you all into. You haven't, it's an interesting dynamic. There will be things that you will be able to pick out of the dynamics of the threads of the reactions, different responses that a number of people have. Because you were talking to us about your partner.
Right.
And recall that.
And that's the thing.
This is still about her?
Yeah, it's about all the people that are in the community that she is mostly focused on. Mm-hmm. So, I'm really excited about the whole RFK thing and the health industry changes that are coming up. And I'm excited about some of the other things that I've been hearing about and
yes,
paying attention to.
There's plenty of hope around. There is.
Yeah.
Well, we have been speaking about that dynamic, that it is it's an ebullience. It's a feeling of joy. It is a feeling of relief. And at the very same time, we are saying to you, do not let down your guard, because people are moving from the disbelief dynamic into the anger dynamic. As far as, because they're going to have to go through the 5 stages of grief. Especially those that have really been deluded in that sort of way. People are, all of it. How can you have, how can you really be in a position of the situation that you're finding yourselves in, and that is including the responses of both sides of the political aisle to the situation, one very positive and one very negative. How can you look at that dynamic and say that there's any solution here, has been any solution at all? So if you look at that, it's almost been that you're in that in-between time. But that in-between time is going to be rapidly slipping away more and more as you move up toward Thanksgiving, because you're getting, that we're sorry, we realize we're taking the opportunity to go on about this, but you've got situations where people are really willing to become estranged from their families, from the people that they love, because of some, because the rest of you elected Hitler to the dynamics. All right, so give us more detail from that dynamic.
I'm just a little concerned about how to not, right now I'm just avoiding the topic because the people around me at work are so sensitive about the whole LGBT thing, and there's a lot of, talk about, some of these folks are like suicidal and they're just so worried. But I can't talk about these things.
We understand homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
All right? We understand men that wish to dress as women. We understand all of those dynamics. However, that has been stretched out to the most radical degree in order to probably offend and challenge the most people. And the community is very surprised that most people are offended by the dynamic. Well, they've always been offended by outrageous behavior. This one knows what the the gay community was like back in the 70s and the 80s, and that whole dynamic that was and is the foundation for this group of people. And all it is, it's a dynamic. It's almost a response to AIDS. If you look at the dynamic of it's like all of a sudden, back in the 70s and up until about 84, we think it was 84, so, where AIDS really started to become a public health issue.
Was that also the Rockefeller drug laws at the same
that
time?
was no,
Okay,
no, that
all
was
right.
earlier. But the Rockefeller drug laws brought about the use more of intravenous drug use, more heroin, more shooting up in that sort of way. So the restriction in some areas created a dynamic of energy in others. But you have to understand that was all part of the gay community, gay men, lesbians, gay women. There were heterosexuals. You went to a gay bar back in the day, you would find all sorts of people there because everybody got together because it was the dancing and it was the music and it was the fun and it was the drugs and it was that whole dynamic of that whole party that was going on in the 70s and the 80s in the homosexual community. Homosexual men, especially can be incredibly outrageous. But what they learn to do is they learn to do it within their community. In other words, it wasn't splashing out into the dynamics of the general population where anybody in the gay community was seeking to subvert the dynamics of children. Now, certainly there were always those that had a preponderance toward pedophilia, but that is not necessarily homosexuality. Well, there's this whole organization that is called Gays for Trump that basically have been,
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, well, but that, it's again, you get involved in the dynamics of politics, and you're usually only listening to an echo chamber. So you hear what we're saying. So
Yeah.
it's the dynamic of that's the difficulty of dealing with these situations. A lot of the people that you're dealing with, your first question should be, where do you get your news?
Yeah.
And then you can begin to understand at least what their worldview is. People have developed huge worldviews based upon the dynamics of half-truths.
And ones and zeros.
And ones and zeros, right? Either or, black or white.